everyone, and welcome back to Sailing Whitehawk. When we originally started making these videos, I use the term we very loosely because Sally does most of it, but it was for family and friends just to keep them informed on what we were doing and where we were. We didn't really expect anyone else to be interested, but we have found quite a number of people have started following our channel, and a few people have asked us about how we live on board and asked us for a look around the boat. So we thought this episode we will show you the boat, introduce ourselves formally. I'm Trevor.
I'm Sally.
And the boat obviously is Whitehawk, and
affectionately known as Whitey.
Whitey, yeah. And we also want to talk about some of the upgrades we've done to the boat, major upgrades. There's always ongoing maintenance which you're doing all the time, but there are a few things we've done that are significant. A couple of the pieces of equipment we've used along the way that we found really helpful, and we thought we'd share those with you. And also a little bit of a preview of where we hope to go this year and what our sailing will look like for the next 6 to 12 months. So this is our girl Whitehawk, currently tied up at the Breakwater Marina in Townsville. We spent the summer here. For insurance purposes, we either had to go south of Mooloolaba, or south to Mooloolaba, or stay in a marina if there was a cyclone. So we chose to stay here to give us a start on our north travels, which we're probably not going to do anyway. So I'm going to give you a bit of a walkthrough of the exterior to start with. She is a 2008 Lagoon 380 Series 2. We've had her for around 2.5 years now. In that time we've sailed from Cairns all the way down to Yamba in New South Wales. Spent last summer on the Yamba River, on the Clarence River, between Yamba, Ewincher and Grafton. And then we sailed back up here where we spent this summer. So I'll start with the back section, and you'll see the high field. It's a 2.9 metre high field with an 8 horsepower Tohatsu engine. We bought both of these in Mackay 2023. The engine's probably just a little bit too small for us, and we can't get up on the plane with 2 of us in the boat. So if we may at some stage decide to upgrade the engine, but we're not in any real hurry, so we can make do with what we've got there. The high field's been great, we love it. Above that you'll see the solar. Again, 2023 we upgraded to 880 watts of solar. They're 2 440 watt bifacial panels, and on a good day in the middle of summer we can get up to, I think our highest we've got out of it's about almost 1100 watts, so they really perform very well, and they tend to keep our batteries fully charged most of the time, providing there's some sun. So now jump aboard and hopefully won't fall in the water. This is Gladys. You will have seen her from time to time in our videos. It was a gift from a boat warming gift from my auntie down at Yamba. She's had her trials and tribulations, but at the moment she's in one of her good phases. Across there you can see we have a Weber Q barbecue, which is great, providing it's not too windy. If it's very, very windy, we struggle, but most of the time it's been really awesome. Starlink. We put Starlink on before we left Cairns, and it has performed absolutely beautifully. So could highly recommend Starlink for anyone that's cruising. It's not cheap, but it means we have telephone, we have internet, we can watch Netflix, we can watch the footy, and we have weather at any time we need it. So it really keeps us up to date. So I'll give you an overview of the cockpit. So that's our cockpit table. It gets a little grotty because we tend to do a bit of work on it, but it's a really comfortable area. We do have shades that pull down to give us shade when the sun's coming in from behind, which most of the anchorages are southeasterly anchorages, which means the sun is setting in the back of the boat, so we can put the covers up and keep the sun out. That's awesome. Going to talk about rigging, but we switched from stainless steel rigging to Dyneema. There was a lot of research and a lot of agonising and a lot of advice from people saying that Dyneema was good, Dyneema was bad, but most of the people we spoke to who had Dyneema absolutely loved it. And we came across a rigger in Port Douglas who has rigged lots and lots of boats in Dyneema, and he is a fantastic rigger. His name's Peter Grieg, and I couldn't recommend him highly enough. We've had that rigging for just over 2 years now, and it's been awesome. We had to adjust it a couple of times in the first year, and it only took 5 minutes to adjust, so it's just not that big of an issue. Coach house there. Then coming up the front we have our dolphin seats, which is where we spend a lot of our time when we're cruising. They're great little seats, and you know, gives you a great view of the world. We put new trampolines on in the amber at the same time as we put our new main on, and that was done by a guy called Scooter, who's a bloody legend, and he gave us a new main, new bag and new trampolines. We've got sail lockers here, one either side. They're very deep and hard to get in and out of, but they hold an awful lot of stuff. So we keep sails and ropes in this side, we keep fenders and all sorts of equipment in the other side. We have a Saka XL number 5 anchor, which is amazing. We're really happy with it. We've never dragged anchor with this thing, and we've been in some pretty windy anchorages, so could not recommend the Saka highly enough. And you'll see we've got a bowsprit there, or a product, and that's what we attach our code 0 to. And we have purchased a brand new asymmetrical spinnaker, which at this stage we haven't even deployed, so when we get cruising again we're hoping to get the asymmetrical spinnaker up, and it will attach to that footer as well. We've got 2 more lockers here. This one's holds the anchor, lots of ropes and gear in there. We've got a deck wash in there. This one is our little portable generator, and I keep all my fuel, petrol for the outboard and the generator in there. There's a 300 litre tank in each of these lockers of fresh water, so with the water maker and the 600 litres of water we can generally last for an awful long time out on anchor without having to worry about water. This is coming back down the other side, and all of the lines lead back to the cockpit. The only time we really have to go forward is when we're putting up the code 0, and then when we put up the spinnaker we'll need to go up the front, but otherwise everything comes back to here, and it's very easy to handle. They're all clearly marked and identified, and yeah, it's very safe, very easy yacht to sail. We're not particularly experienced sailors, so the fact that it is quite easy to sail works well for us. I'll show you the nav station now, or the helm, and we needed to get a new VHF because the VHF was sitting downstairs and it was really hard to hear. So when you were sailing along you would hear the VHF downstairs, but you wouldn't actually know what they were saying. So we wanted a VHF here. Unfortunately the dash had been chopped and added to so many times that there wasn't a space for it. So I ended up cutting the whole dash out and made this new one which looks like carbon fibre, but it's not. It's actually 3mm aluminium with a vinyl wrap over it. And sorry, that's the AOS alarm. It's 3mm aluminium with a vinyl wrap over it, so we can change that at any stage if we want to put a different colour or a different style of wrap on. We can always just change that. And what this means now is I can pull that dash out and get to the back of all the instruments, which previously was very difficult. So that's the engine controls down there, and throttles and gear shifts there. So that's pretty much the boat. We have our fishing lines here, which are absolutely ineffective. I think in 2 years we've caught 2 mackerel, so I'm sure it's the equipment, not our skill level. It's we might just have to get some more fishing rods, keep trying until we find one that works. So that's the outside. It's very, very sheltered in here, and most weather conditions, if it pours with rain, tend to get a little bit of rain in from here. We did get some clears made up, but they weren't particularly effective, so at some stage we'll figure something out just to cover that little section in, but otherwise we're snug as a bug in a rug. So that's the outside section. I'll just go inside now and show you the control panel. So this is the Nav Station. The first thing you'll note is the Servo GX there, which is, or Servo GX display, which really gives us all the information we need about the systems, the 12 volt system, the 240 volt system, and also the freshwater tanks. It's absolutely a game changer and allows us to monitor all of our electrics all the time. This is a multi-control, which is really just controlling our 3 kilowatt inverter, and this is the 240 volt side of our electrics, and that's the 12 volt side. So that's where we control everything. Down here we've actually got an HF radio, which we haven't had cause to use in anger as yet, but we didn't want to take it out because we were told that it could be handy if we do any ocean crossings. I think Starlink probably supersedes the HF radio to a great extent, but having redundancy is always good, and it's a great safety feature. That's the VHF radio that we originally had downstairs, which still works. It's just, as I said, when you're sailing you don't really hear it, so that we've kept it there, and the 2 radios are completely separate, so it's complete redundancy. So if one happens to fail, we can switch across to the other one. That's our Sony stereo, and that's the Nav Station.
So entering the saloon. This is the main indoor area, obviously, of Whitey. To the left is the Nav Station, and then obviously is downstairs to the cabins in the U-shaped seating here. Across to kitchen area, part of the kitchen area, so we have put in a new isotherm fridge. The old one was just about on its last legs. So this is very nice. It's a nice drawer fridge. Microwave, coffee grinder, very important. Soda stream. That is the Starlink wireless modem. And then around we have a really great telly, so we can sit and watch telly of a night time or whenever. We have crockery in here, cutlery, everyday pantry here, more cutlery here. We've got an Eno 3-burn stove, very good, and oven, Eno oven, which is okay. I wouldn't want to make a souffle in it, but it's okay for the everyday. Stainless steel sinks. And the other thing I wanted to mention, which I didn't mention before, is this privacy door. So this door, you can close off the master's side, master's suite, so you can have complete privacy. So that's a really nice feature of the Lagoon 380. And the other thing, of course, with the 380 is I've got the curtains closed now for privacy because we're in the marina, but it does have the ability to open completely up all the way around, and you have 360-degree views basically all the way. So it's very comfortable for us, and we love it. This table does go down, and we have made this a overnight bed when we're on passage. Also up on the saloon area we have under, well, I should mention first this beautiful rug my sister made with White Hawk on it. She crocheted that for us. Beautiful. Thanks, Jen. And that just lifts up. We've got pots and pans and bits and pieces in there. Then we have under seat storage on these 3 cushions here. On this one, do you want to show the aircon? No. So this one houses the aircon. So 16,000 BTU Webasto. It's just in the salon, but it really does filter down to the cabins if it's on long enough, and it just makes everything much more comfortable. We wouldn't have survived Townsville in the summer if that hadn't been going. The second compartment has our water maker. It's a Spectra water maker, 12 volt. Does 22 litres now roughly. And that keeps us going when we're out and about. And the third compartment is just a storage compartment here. So very deep and houses all sorts of odds and ends that we need from time to time. Okay, so moving down into the owner's side. So we come down stairs. So we've got stairs here. First thing you see is the study. Well, we've got all our electrical stuff, so the printer, any books we want, a little bit of alcohol. Pantry, I've converted these 2 bottom cupboards to a pantry. Very handy. Hanging locker there, where we've got life jackets, etc. As you go to the left, you've got the toilet. We've made a freshwater toilet, or converted it to freshwater. We've got the sink, basin and mirrors, and then full shower. It's a really big shower. It's really lovely, and it is very spacious. We were going to put a washing machine in there, but we've changed our minds 1,000 times. But anyway, so back around, then we have the main master suite. Another full locker here. Storage space there under the bed. Got a 100-litre fridge here. That's our extra big spare fridge. Escape hatch. And that is the master cabin. It's beautiful. Queen size bed and very, very comfy. Good. Now we'll have a look at the other side. Again, we've got a set of stairs coming down into the hallway. So there's 3 steps down to the port, or to the left is our guest bedroom. So another queen size bed, really nice size, very bright and airy. Another full size locker here for clothes, etc. Second escape hatch in the corner there, and it's a very good size, very comfortable by all accounts. So if you ever come and join us, that's where you're going to be. So following on from the port aft cabin, we've got a little hallway here leading into another cabin. So 3 cabins in total. This is a double going down into a V. So double up this end, V down that end. Makes finding sheets and bedding hard. That one looks a bit rugged. But it's a nice room. It's got space here for changing. It's got another locker here for clothing. It's got storage here under that seat. So quite a nice size actually. And I think it's the best one in the boat for breeze because it captures the breeze across the deck and funnels it down into here when the hatch is open, which is really nice. So, next stop is second head.
So Sally's deputised me to do the second head. This is on the port side between the aft and the forward cabin. It's a wet head, which means that there's no separate shower. The tap actually pulls out and becomes a shower. We really don't use this one much at all, in fact never, but it is available if needed. The toilet in this head we left plumbed into salt water, just in case we ever have an issue with our fresh water. It gives us a backup. So normally it's full of cleaning gear. We keep all of our cleaning gear in here, and it's really a utility room. We just tied it up before the walkthrough. But that is our second head.
So we just thought we'd go through some of the major modifications we did when we bought White Hawk. She wasn't really set up for liverboard cruising, which is a little bit different to just your day-to-day cruising. And so there were some things that needed doing before we could really go off and do our thing. So the other thing that we had done that was a major overhaul was our battery system, our lithium. We went from AGMs to lithium, and again I'll let Trevor do that.
Yes, we met a chap in Cairns called Jeffrey Kendall, who was he's been fantastic. He's helped us a lot. Very experienced guy, very handy on all things boating, and he had converted his own boat to lithium, so he helped us convert ours from AGM to lithium. We went with 600 amps of lithium. We were going to go 900, but on Jeff's advice we started with 600 to see how it went, and to be honest, that's more than adequate for everything we've been doing. So with the 600 amps of lithium and 880 watts of solar, it's been fantastic. I don't think we've probably 2 or 3 times in 2 years we've had to run a generator or an engine to top up the power.
And that's really been when we've had days of rain.
5 or 6 days of rain and no sunshine. Even with limited sunshine, we still put enough power in usually to keep up with it. So everything that was installed is lithium, except Victron, sorry, except the batteries. The Victron batteries at that stage were hugely expensive, so we went with some middle of the range Australian batteries, which we're very happy with at this stage. They've been 2 years now and they're performing really well. So at this stage we've got a 3 kilowatt Victron Multi-Plus 2 inverter, and all of our other equipment in the electrics is Victron. The whole system, once it was finished, was inspected by Victron agent and certified for insurance purposes, so we're really happy. And it's since been just here in Townsville, we had an electrician go through the system, just a safety check on all our system, and he was very impressed with the setup of our electrics. So we couldn't be happier with our electrics. That was the second major one.
And I think the solar, upgrading our solar too, was
game changer,
hugely important to our efficiency on board. They're bifacial panels, so we get a little bit of reflection from the water, and that's really changed. We can be at like 70% after an evening of watching telly and what have you, and then by like 12 or 1 o'clock the next day we're full. So batteries and solar are working very, very well together. So the other thing, which was a game changer, was the air conditioning. Over to you.
So we planned on spending the first summer we bought the boat in Cairns in a marina, and anyone who's ever been in Cairns in summer knows that you just need to have air conditioning. So the boat, because it wasn't a liverboard boat, it didn't have air conditioning. We looked at various options for portable air conditioners and cheap air conditioners, and we just decided we would bite the bullet and get a proper marine system. So we went with a 16,000 BTU Webasto unit. We've got just one outlet vent in the cockpit, in the saloon, sorry, and that is fantastic. Even on the hottest day, it keeps the saloon beautiful and cool, and then by the end of the day, as it cools off, the cabins get the benefit. The cold air trickles down into the cabins, and so by night time the whole yacht is very livable. So it has had its challenges, and we won't go into it here, but we're really happy that we got the air conditioning. We could not have lived through that first summer without it. We have run it once off the batteries for about 3 hours when we got caught in a situation where we couldn't open the boat up because there was a big storm and it was very hot, humid, and sand flies and mosquitoes. So just to cool the boat down, we ran it off the batteries for about 3 hours. And since then, while I was in the marina, I just did a test and I ran it during the day for 5 hours off the batteries. So there is capacity there if we need to run it off the batteries. But generally when you're out cruising and you're on anchor or on a mooring, you don't need air conditioning because you get breezes and you can open the boat up.
And it's been an absolute godsend here in Townsville over summer. It's been, we would not have survived here, or I wouldn't have for sure, if we hadn't had aircon. So yeah, that's one thing that we're very, very glad that we put in.
Yeah.
So the other things that we wanted to discuss or show you with pieces of equipment that we've really found beneficial since we've been sailing. Not all big pieces, just some little things that have made life really handy. They've been handy, and one of them is these, and these are wireless headsets. They're Sena Bluetooth. Now they're really great. They make mooring and pulling anchor and all the rest of that really, really easy. Trevor and I can talk to each other really easily. We don't scream. There's no miscommunication, there's no problems with communication, and they're very easy to use. Not the cheapest pieces of equipment, but they've paid for themselves.
By not crashing into jetty.
Yeah, by not doing stupid things. We've also used them when we were doing repairs on the boat, like if someone's down in the bilge or when someone's on the jetty. We can talk to each other just for repairs, you know, turn that on, turn that off, you know, it's really handy. So if you are in the, in the market for that, I'd recommend these. Sena, really great.
Okay, the second thing is a very expensive piece of kit, and it's a remote control for our windlass. So we had this on one of these on the boat when we first got it, and after about a year it failed for various reasons which we won't go into.
What, the one I threw overboard?
So I thought, well, that just looks cheap, flimsy and nasty, so I tried different options for remote controls for this windlass. I got one online for like $120, didn't work, so I sent it back. I went to RTM and I got a different one around $100, didn't work. Took it back to RTM and they said, oh yeah, that must be a dodgy one, here, try another one. And we actually tried it before I even left the shop and it didn't work. So I went back to the original, bought one online, and it cost $9 with 2 of these remotes plus the control unit. So I got 2 of them for $18, and this one's been operating now for over a year without any trouble, and I've set it up now so that if it does fail I can change it out to a new one in about 5 minutes. And it's an eBay or I think an Amazon item for $9, so it's great. It means we can operate the anchor, winch, the windlass from anywhere on the boat, and yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and just thanks to Dave, the owner, because he had it on board. And yeah, it's been fantastic. The other thing we really like is the Ewincher, and oh, it's on. So it's a fairly chunky piece of equipment and it's not cheap. We were lucky, however, to get an ex-demo model for half price, so we were really lucky with that. So the Ewincher takes the place of a normal winch handle and is motorised, runs off batteries, so it needs to be recharged, but it basically makes any of your winches electric. And very handy for putting somebody up the mast. People down the road borrowed it just the other day, and they put their partner up the mast without any trouble. And just for general sailing, we haven't used it a lot for general sailing. In fact, we haven't used it a lot per se, but
well, we used it a lot when Peter was the rigger was doing the rigging.
But now we just sort of have it there ready to go if we need it, and it's a really handy piece of equipment, even though it is new, chunky and quite expensive. But
yeah, but that's basically, it's got 2 speeds, and it makes all of our winches electric, which to convert one of our winches, we didn't have any electric winches when we bought the boat.
Still don't.
And to convert one of them to electric, I think was 8,000 minimum, and a lot of modifications to the drilling through the boat and all sorts. So this one we now have 3 electric winches.
So the last piece of equipment that we wanted to bring up was the rangefinder. Just a normal golf rangefinder, but a really handy piece of equipment, mostly because it solves arguments, doesn't it, dear?
We don't argue, we disagree occasionally.
Yeah, so
yeah, from time to time we would differ in our opinions of how far away a boat was to us in the anchorage, and I tend to be on the optimistic side, Sal's on the more conservative side. So, you know, I'd say that's 100 metres, Sal would say it's 60. Since we got the rangefinder, what we find usually about halfway between is the truth. So it's really good. It allows us to know with some certainty that unless someone pulls anchor, that we're not going to hit anyone through the night. So it's another piece of mind.
And along with that, we have an app for anchoring,
anchor
alarm on our phone that you know, we can set and put a perimeter, and if we go outside that perimeter, we know we're dragging. So there's lots of ways to be
safe at anchor
and sleep soundly.
Yeah. So the next thing we wanted to talk about was our sailing plans for this year, and we're now on the 37th iteration of a sailing plan. We were originally going to try and get Lizard Island this year, but having seen the southeasters, the way they blow up here, we thought going all the way up to Lizard and then coming south,
which is just north of Cooktown.
Yeah, Lizard Island's north of Cooktown, so it's a long way north, and going all the way there and then having to come back south seemed like a long way to go. So we've revised our plans, and this year is going to be all about heading south, with the eventual aim of spending the summer in Sydney, in and around Sydney.
So we're looking forward to doing the Hawkesbury River, Port Stephens,
Pittwater,
all that.
Sydney Harbour.
All that beautiful area.
Yeah.
And I have my best friend down there, so that would be lovely to catch up with her. We'll probably catch up with friends and family in the Sundays on the way down. So
do Keppel, do the Great Sandy.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to spending time in places that we really love on the way down, and doing the whole Sydney thing when we get there.
Next year, at this stage, the plan was to leave Sydney and around this time next year, when the southeast trades come in, and get a magic carpet ride all the way up the east coast and do the north area, Lizard Island and Cape York next season. There is some rumblings about maybe doing the Pacific, so that's a to be advised at this stage. So all we know at this stage is we want to get to Sydney, and we want to do a summer around Sydney and some of those beautiful anchorages and ports down there, and then next year we'll be coming north. Whether we go north in Australia or we venture out into the Pacific, that's to be decided based on how we feel after this year's cruising. As any cruiser will tell you, plans change, and ours change probably more than most. But it's one of the great things about cruising. We don't have any fixed agenda really, and we can go where we want when we want. So that's our year coming up.
But we look forward to taking you along for the ride, and hope you stick with us. And thank you to all the new subscribers we've had recently. We really appreciate you
joining us,
pressing the button, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye guys.
Hello everyone. So,
Hi, you ready?
yeah.
Okay. Originally, when we started making these videos, we really didn't expect anybody to be interested.